Hello everyone. Today I'm going to do something I've been meaning to do for a long time. It's January, early January in the Pacific Northwest. I live near Portland, Oregon. Right now I'm near Barton, in case you want to know exactly where I am. And I'm going to go camp out in my yard. And try to do a little steelhead fishing. So I don't really know what I'm doing, but it just seems like it'd be fun. So let's see what happens. Okay, we are deep into the back of the property. Lots of animals live back in here. And it looks like there's lots of places I could set up. You can see this is heavily used by deer and coyotes and all kinds of other creatures. I was thinking about going back over in here somewhere. You can see creatures are bedding down right here of some sort, or maybe over here. Okay, I found a spot I'm going to try. Now, I think I can figure this out. I've just never set up a tarp, at least by myself, and we'll see how that goes. I don't know if I already said, but the temps will be, I don't know, in the 40s, and then tonight in the 30s, and it's been raining like crazy. I threw some gear down here. I've got a tarp, old tent, sleeping bag, fishing tackle, a few miscellaneous items, fishing rod there, and we're underneath some cedar trees here. And what I'm going to try to do is set up a tarp, put the tent under it, and then I'm going to try to start a fire without any matches. Got the kids some fire starter kits that I'm going to experiment with. So anyway, let's see how it goes. Well, there you have it. Boy, that didn't even take very long either. So I tied it off to the big cedar tree over there. Made some little toggles you might be able to see to hold that part straight. Tied it off up to that big branch. And then in the back, I just pegged it and used some trucker hitches. Got my stuff there. Later on, I'm going to set up a tent and then clear some of this out a little bit. Start a fire right in here, a little campfire. And so far, so good. I've actually got some time to fish this evening. Probably going to get dark pretty soon, but you can see there's all kinds of wet wood lying all over the place down here, and endless supply of twigs and sticks, and probably all kinds of great things I can cut off too that are completely dry. So should not be a problem finding some firewood later. On big floods, the river comes through here sometimes. So I found this a while back. This chair floated down the river. So I guess that counts. I'm going to take that back up to the camp on the way back up. All right, I made it down to the river, and it's kind of been on the rise, but it's looking good. Looking really good. I know for a fact some fish have been caught in the lower river even today. This isn't the greatest spot, especially early in the season like this, but we'll give it a try. And you know, I'm pretty sure if I bank fish for like all day for a couple of days, I could probably squeak one out of here. This trip is, you know, it's all about this camping thing, but we'll see what happens. I'll show you the rigging here in a second. Okay, the rigging is so simple. This is a rig you could probably use for a week effectively, especially in kind of higher water or medium-sized or bigger rivers, and it's super effective. So all we've got here is a 5/8 ounce float, and that is matched to a 1/2 ounce sinker. You've got your braid tied directly to it. Then you've got 2 feet of 15-pound fluorocarbon. You could go a little heavier too if you wanted to. And this is tied to a 1/8 ounce jig head, and I'm going to put a worm on there. So I'll show you that in a minute, but that's it. You know, there's a bobber stopper knot there. So see, it slides up and stops. And that's it. Simple rig. Lots of people use this. Some guides, this is kind of the only rig they use. So anyway, it does work. Works well. What I've done is I put all of my tackle right in this pocket, just to keep it simple. Now I do have one spool of leader. The leader is over in this pocket, but if you go in here, you can see there's a pocket on the inside. Just go ahead and pull it out, and there you have it. All of my tackle, including 2 spare bobbers. You hardly lose anything with this rig. A bunch of spare jig heads, a few regular jigs, some worms, and everything you need to re-rig. So you could go for days using this and have a chance at as good a chance as anybody catching steelhead. There you go. I have added the trusty pink worm to the jig head. I trimmed some of the front of it off a little bit so it's not too long on there. And let's see what happens. Pretty simple setup. Okay, I've worked this tail out hard. It's a beautiful spot, as you can see out there. I started in close, about 3 feet deep, and slowly worked my way out with progressive passes out to maybe the middle of the river, slowly going deeper down to maybe 5 feet deep. Up here I did have a bobber down, could have been the bottom, not sure. We'll see if that amounts to anything. So I've covered this well. Now when the water's like this, fish could pop in here. So I mean, just standing here and casting could work, but I kind of feel like moving around. So I'm gonna go try the upper end. Okay, I covered the top of the run. Show you that in a second. It's just beautiful out here. There's an island and a side channel that comes in. You can see there's a side channel, then goes over there to the main river, and a bunch of these little chutes all come together. So I carved my way through all these little chutes, hoping for a fish that might be moving up river. And now I'll kind of go deeper. The water's a little high for it, but I'll fish the center of this upper portion. And then I think I'm just going to go back to the tail out and work that over. That's where I've done the best at this water level. Don't really have time to walk to another spot, but tomorrow I'm going to. So anyway, stay tuned. Alrighty, so I moved into the center of the upper hole. Been fishing the kind of the deeper middle section. I've done well there in years past, but usually in lower water. So what I think I'm going to do is finish out back in the tail out. I don't really have time because this big river, I'm bank fishing. The boat just went by and they signaled that they had one fish, a jet boat in the lower river. I know some other fish were caught down there too. So that means there could be some around here and I'll have a decent shot in the morning, but who knows, we'll fish it till dark and then go set up camp. Okay, I'm back in the tail out. My hope is a fish is going to come up through this tail out or shuffle around one that's already in the tail out and put itself in a place where it can see this presentation. It's happened in the past. Today, it's a little early in the season, but you never know. Beautiful spot anyway, though. It's hard not to just keep casting and casting and casting, even though it is definitely not one of the best spots on the river. Okay, I made a bunch of passes through the tail out again. Even switched over to try this jig a little bit because I thought I had a takedown on the worm. No luck, but we'll try again tomorrow. It's starting to get dark, so I'm going to head back up to see if the tarp's still up and set up camp. It's just beautiful out. It's all foggy. Starting to get dark. I'm back to the random chair that the river brought down, so I'm going to snatch it up. Almost back to camp. Okay, so far so good. I threw my chair underneath the tarp. It's still standing. Now I've got to get busy and find some wood and start a fire. Okay, I've been busy. I collected a bunch of bark off the numerous cedar trees around here. It's a little wet, but I think it'll start. Then back there I've got all kinds of wood stacked up. set up a little light there. Probably can't see very well, but anyway, we'll get the fire started and see what happens. This saw right here, what is it, the Silky F180? Wow, it's foldable, and this thing just tears through branches and trees. I'm going to try to start the fire with this Zippo Firefast MTB set. It comes with wax coated pine, so I'm guessing that should start up pretty easy. So you know, in a taro stick, so we'll see what happens. This is no joke. It is wet out here. I'm putting these on some cedar bark. I've got some other cedar bark. It has been raining here for 3 months. Everything is soaking wet. If I get a fire started doing this, it's only because of this cedar, because everything's wet. Let's see if I can figure out how to do this. I think you do it like this. Come on. Ah, it works. Okay, so now this is wet cedar bark. I'm going to lay it on here. Little chunks. Hopefully it takes. Ah, no. No. Okay, careful. Wow, this is great. I can't believe that worked so well. This is nuts. Okay, this was the driest stuff. I didn't dig down too deep to get to the real dry stuff, but apparently this wetter bark burns pretty easy. Now I got to be careful because I don't want to overdo it. Let that get going a little bit. This is wet, even though it's drier than most of the things around here. Okay, let's see what happens. Wow, I can't believe how easy that pine was. Definitely save some of those. Okay, now remember, this is wet bark. Out in the Pacific Northwest. I'm very excited. I've been watching YouTube videos on how to do this, and it apparently works. So I've got lots of, these are branches, dead branches on the bottom of the cedar trees. They're still kind of wet, but they're not too bad now. I may be getting ahead of myself here, because we're still getting a lot of that flame from the pine fire starter at the bottom. So let's see if we get lucky. Okay, I'll give you an update in a minute. Okay, looks like the wetwood fire is on its way. All the branches I drug over here, I've have them leaning over a log, and I've just been chopping pieces off. Once the fire got going, it looks like it's starting to build a bed of coals. So yeah, no idea how wet this wood is. It's been raining out here for 3 months, so very excited that learned something new about the cedar bark to get a fire started. I've been going non-stop for like an hour and a half, and it's time for a well-deserved break. I'm going to sit down in this chair for a bit before I set up the tent and continue on, but so far so good. It is supposed to rain tonight. I don't know what's going on. It hasn't been raining right now, but I'll tell you what, I thought it was going to be a lot colder out here, and I've had to take both of my coats off, and I wish I didn't have these fishing waders on because my feet are burning up. I should have brought something to switch out to, but you know, trying to wing it here. I can see this camera doesn't work very good in the dark, but so I'm out in the woods here, and so I'm having problems with some of the flashlights. Okay, was having some problems with my camera, but apparently it was the battery, because it seems to be working now. Got the fire, it's been running now for a few hours, just put wet wood on it, and it seems to, it finally took, so fire's going great. Now, you probably can't see anything, but the full moon's out, and it's coming through a bunch of trees, and it's super creepy out here. Now I'm starting to hear some strange animal noises. I know there's some bear out here once in a while. There's definitely cougar, lots of bobcats, for sure coyotes, deer like crazy, probably, you know, I've seen skunk, probably all kinds of weird little critters, but I'm hearing a bunch of very strange noises. I'll try to get it on the camera, but anyway, yeah, it's getting pretty creepy out here. So I'm trying to, I set the tent up. It's supposed to start raining pretty soon, so we'll see how it goes.
Well, you can probably hear the rain has been pouring for like at least an hour and a half. Kind of concerned to see if the tarp's going to hold, but this is pretty exciting. I'm staying toasty warm in my little tent here, but all I've got is that tarp up there to protect me. So see if I make it. It's about 40 degrees. Definitely very humid in here, so we'll see if we make it.
Good morning. Survived the night. I'm gonna say it was a little bit rough, but big picture, everything worked out. As you might be able to see, I'll show you this a little bit later, the tarp held up. I was able to get some sleep. There's a few embers left, so I was able to start a fire this morning, no problem. And it's going to be raining today, but I'm going to head down to the river and see if I can't get a bite. Okay, I went down to the spot I fished last night. Just before I got there, a jet boat pulled in. Looked like they were going to get out and bank fish, so I took a few casts on the tail out and then decided to do a little cross-country hiking. You can see how beautiful it is out here. I'll let you walk along with me here for a minute. These forests are incredible. You can see there's a cedar right here. I'll show you what I was using to start the fire. You can see this. You can just easily pull pieces just right off the tree. Wow, big chunk. But just right there, I think the stuff's not going to hurt the tree. It just kind of naturally sheds. But anyway, it's been raining and raining, and you could just carve that up, or you could break it up and put pieces in your pocket and then really start a fire easy. Okay, I've slid down to the river here. Water's a little high. Usually that means they'll be in like tailouts or working along the edge of the river. It's a great time to spay fish, for sure. But what I'm going to do is put a big worm on and then just work this edge and then work it behind any pockets I see. And then I might call it a day. So let's see what happens. So what I'm doing here is I'm set at 3 feet deep, 2 feet to the sinker, and then another foot up from the float. There's an inside seam, so I'm casting it out, I don't know, maybe 2-3 feet, right where it gets a little bit deeper. I'll let it float down maybe 30 feet. Then I'll reel it back in. And then I'll go out maybe 2 feet further, 2 or 3 feet further. I'll let it float down 30 feet or so. These fish at the top end of this pool would probably be, in this water level, would probably be traveling along this edge, possibly the other edge, but they definitely travel up this edge sometimes. And then one final cast, another maybe 9 feet out there. Let that float along, all at the same depth. It's not real deep right here. Let it go down there 30-40 feet. And then what I'm going to do is just take 10 steps downstream or so. Okay, if you look upstream, you can see that slot. It maybe goes 20 feet out. As I come further down the river and the water begins to slow, I'll start spreading my cast out a little bit further out. So again, I'll go 2, 3, 4 feet off the bank, and then a little bit further out, maybe 3 more feet on the next cast, and just try to cover all the water. If I know it's a little deeper, I might deepen up just a bit, but these fish will come up to the up to grab that worm. So anyway, I'm going to keep covering the water. It looks beautiful. Work this hole pretty darn, work this slot pretty hard. All the way from the tip top of it, all the way down and through. My guess is if I did this in 10 different spots today, I'd probably catch a fish. That's the math. Yesterday I talked to 3 boats. 2 of the boats got 1 fish and the other didn't get any fish. And that's 3+ people fishing from daylight till dark. So the fish aren't quite in, but I couldn't resist. And it was a great excuse to try my camping out program, because I'm going to do it with the kids pretty soon, and I'm going to go on some big adventures. I'd really appreciate it if you guys would take a look at what I did and then give me some pointers, because I want to be able to hang out for 2-3 days in, you know, temperatures between 30 and 45 degrees. That's typically what we have here in the Northwest, and stay out and fish the whole time and do it sort of comfortably, at least stay warm. There's so many things you can do if you are set up to do that. So anyway, I'm gonna head back to the camp, and then we'll close out. All right, I'm back at home base. Everything looks fine. The tarp did really well. It's still standing. There were no pools of water. It really poured last night. It's crazy. The cheap tie downs worked. My little toggles didn't break. Tied over to this giant cedar tree, which is where I got all the little pieces of bark to start the fire, along with this one over here. So that's kind of convenient. And everything went pretty well. Again, please make some comments on how I could do this better. I had a hard time sleeping, not because I wasn't, not because I was cold or anything, but the rain was loud, wasn't used to that on the tarp, and there were a lot of creature noises. Coyotes were going crazy. Something was making some weird yippy noises. I'm pretty sure it was a bobcat, possibly a cougar. And then some big animals were cruising around, but my neighbor has water buffalo, which aren't very far away, so could have been the water buffalo creeping along the fence over there. But anyway, it was a lot of fun. And now I can officially say I've camped out in the yard in January. So thank you very much, and we'll bring you more crazy trips. That's another thing too. If you can think of some crazy camping you want me to do, I'm all in. Thanks.